Here's the project we're going to do today. I'm calling this one Mountain Lighthouse. And these are the stamps that were used. They're all Stampscapes stamps except for one grass stamp from Art Impressions. This grass right here is from the Stampscapes Nature Sheet 9. This, and this are all from the Stampscapes Nature Sheet 4. This one is from the Stampscapes Nature Sheet 1, and this one is from Stampscapes 410E. And then the small grass is from Art Impressions. It's from their foliage set 4051. And these are the different inks that I used. And I will also have this in the description of the video so that you can see those. And so let's begin. Okay, I've got a quarter sheet of Kromekote paper here. I am going to put some temporary adhesive on the back of it. And then I'm using a Mischief Creative Corner and my Stampin Up stamping platform. And I will put my Kromekote paper in here, and it's hopefully going to be held down by the temporary adhesive that I put on. And I will start by using some Memento Tuxedo Black, and I will stamp in the lighthouse in the mountain. Okay, and next I will do the tree line. And next I'll do the left shore. Okay, next I'm going to color the sky and water. I'm going to use some Memento ink. I'm going to use London Fog, Summer Sky, and Bahama Blue. And I will start with the London Fog. And I am going to use a makeup brush that I bought on Amazon. And just start by bringing the London Fog on. And I'll clean off the brush by just wiping it on a dry microfiber cloth. And next I'll do Summer Sky. Okay, and I'm going to put a mask down at where I want the horizon line to be, and I'd say probably about right here. Okay, now I'll use one of my smaller brushes, and I will start with Bahama Blue. And I'll clean off the brush and blend it all in. Then I'm starting on the water portion. Okay, and I'm going to put this now back in my stamping platform. And I am going to stamp in the trees. And so I will start with the smaller tree in the background. And again, I'll use Memento Tuxedo Black. And I am going to wipe off a little of this side where the big tree is going to be overlapping it. And I've repositioned with my Mystic Creative Corner, and I will do the large tree now. And now I'll start adding in some color. I'll use a little bit of bamboo leaves. And I'll use a little bit of cottage ivy. Now I'll do the same thing with the smaller tree and some cottage ivy. Okay, now I'm going to do the same to the green parts of this stamp. And I'll also use some bamboo leaves. Okay, now I'll do the same with these trees. Then bamboo leaves and a little bit of cottage ivy. All right, and I'm going to give this Memento ink a chance to completely dry, and then we'll be back to continue. See, and I actually think I want to stamp these tree reflections in the water also. So I put it back in my stamp positioner, and I will stamp it with New Sprout, then bamboo leaves. Okay, I'm going to start on the land down here, and I'm going to use a little bit of desert sand. And I'm going to use my Memento Black dual marker to just kind of complete the land over here where the stamp missed. Okay, next I'm going to use some New Sprout. Okay, now I'll use bamboo leaves. I'm going to use my smaller round-headed brush. Okay, and now I'll put on some cottage ivy. Okay, for the mountains I'm going to use some desert sand and toffee crunch, and I'll start with the desert sand. Okay, now we'll do toffee crunch. Okay, I'm going to go back to desert sand and toffee crunch. Okay, I'm going to add some alcohol markers to add a little more definition to this. So for the rocks and the mountains, I'm going to use my Copic Markers, E70 and E74. And I will start with the E74 in the darkest areas here. And I'll blend it out with the E70. And I'll go back to the E74. And I got a little out here, and so I'll use my colorless blender. And back to E74. Okay, and now to add a little to the green, I will use G43 and G46. And I'll start with my G43 and G46. And I'll use my colorless blender to kind of blend this out. Okay, I'm back to my G46. Okay, now I'm going to take a dry paper towel and just kind of buff this color that I just added to this tree. Then add some G43. And now I'll repeat the same thing on the smaller tree. And some G43 for the green up here. Okay, for the lighthouse, I'm going to use EO2 and EO4. And I will start with the EO2. Okay, and EO4 in the darker areas. and blend it out with EO2. Okay, and for the roof of the little house, I'll use T3 and T6. And I will start with the T3. Okay, and for the light in the lighthouse, I'm going to use a Color It gel pen. This one is Happy Yellow. And I'll also use some yellow cake. And I will do the outside area here with yellow cake. And also blend in the window. And I'll go back to Happy Yellow. Now I'll use my Uniball White gel pen to add some highlights. See, I'll use my thicker Uniball gel pen. Sometimes what I like to do when I use the thicker gel pen is after I've applied it is to just scrape a little bit of it off to just leave more of a hint of a highlight. Okay, I put it back in my positioner, and I'm going to now stamp the man and the, I guess it's a dog, I don't know what it is, but I'll use Memento Tuxedo Black. To make them a little darker, I'm going to use some Versafine pigment ink. I wanted to stamp some little grass on here, so this is my Art Impressions grass. I'll use my Cottage ivy. Now I'll also use some Memento Tuxedo Black. Okay, now I'll use the Stampscapes stamp, and I'll start with some Cottage ivy and some Memento Tuxedo Black. And we've also kind of lost our horizon line here, so I'm going to put some water highlights here just to show where the horizon is. Okay, and I'll also try some BG01 to kind of highlight this horizon, make that just a little bit darker. Oops. Uh-oh. I accidentally got some pigment ink in here from the dog or the cow or the wolf or whatever it is. So I need to think to see what I can do with that. Maybe I'll try going over it with my Copic marker. Let me see, maybe putting a little bit of alcohol on a Q-tip and see what that does. Yeah, that seems to work pretty well. So the rubbing alcohol on a Q-tip seems to be working pretty good for getting that off. And also, you know, the alcohol markers that I put on here, it's helping to kind of smooth that down. Oops. kind of damaging the paper there, so. Okay, so I put a little bit too much alcohol on here, and I've kind of damaged the paper. So I'm going to see if maybe I can find something to stamp over that, and then we'll be back. Okay, I'm going to try and stamp these little rocks kind of over the spot that got messed up. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the acrylic plate of my big stamp positioner, and I am going to place it over this, and then I will position this about where I think I want it. And I will pick it up and straighten it out. And then I will stamp it onto the acrylic plate to see how I like the positioning. So I'll take out my Misty Creative Corner, and I will just stamp this on, and we'll see what it looks like. And that looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do then is I will take this off. I'm going to make sure I'm positioned again. And then we'll ink it up, and we'll just stamp it several times. Okay, I'm going to give this a chance to dry, the part that I just stamped, and then we'll color in these rocks. Okay, I'll start by using the Desert Sand and the Toffee Crunch to color these rocks in, and the Toffee Crunch, and some bamboo leaves for the grassy area. Okay, now I'll use my alcohol markers, my E70 and E74. Okay, and now for the grasses, I'll use my G43 and G46. Okay, and now I'll use some white gel pen. Okay, and I'll sign and date it now. Alright, I put this in a box, and I'm going to take it outside, and I'm going to spray it with my Krylon UV resistant clear acrylic coating. And since I've got pigment ink on these two little characters, I'll put several very light coats on instead of one heavy coat. And when I'm finished, we'll be back. And here is the final product after it's been sprayed with the acrylic coating. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye!